everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Plan and Traffic. And you know we do this every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So check us out and check out the videos on YouTube, our replays. You can always go back and watch those. Mm-hmm. So we got Ray from Motor Mouth Radio. We got Johnny Bohmer, the fast man on the block.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, before we start, I got a problem. So me and Johnny are hanging out at SEMA this year, right? We go to breakfast. We ride the Tesla tunnel. We were talking about spraying our names on the tunnel.
Yeah, that's right.
we go to the SEMA show. We hang out at the booth. We go to dinner afterwards. Not once did he tell me he was going to take a hammer and beat up the world record speed in his car. I had no clue until I seen it on Facebook. What's up, Johnny? Let a brother know something.
Yeah. I thought you probably knew about it. I mean, that's how I met Nelson. I had Nelson from Boss Hog. I met him at a trade show, and I had my car there on display, and I had set the Guinness World Record of 283 miles an hour in 2012, I think it was. Still stands, matter of fact, in the standing mile. And I've been talking about going 300 for a long time, man. It's been a long, hard, arduous, fraught with failure journey. 16 years I've probably been working on that car to do that. So yeah, it's but I should have said something, but I figured you knew about it.
Yeah, well, I knew you were a fast guy. You know, I mean, you were rolling fast. But then when I seen the video, I'm like, I didn't know this. I might have flew in just to see it happen.
It was relatively private. Richard Ballins from Gas Monkey Garage, he has his own stuff going on now with YouTube and all that. He's not with Discovery. So, we kept it pretty low. Honestly, I didn't want a big crowd. I didn't really make a big deal about it because, it's a lot of pressure, and I have to work on the car. I've got a great team behind me, but I'm involved in a lot of stuff on the car. Mm-hmm. And I've got to drive it. So yeah. When you start getting separated, you can make mistakes. So I try to stay pretty focused. So now the pressure's off. I'll probably, next time I run, car should go around 320, 322. I think if everything holds up, and then, I'll probably pressure's off, 300 mile an hour, what I wanted, 310.8 and 500 kilometers. So that was the goal.
Okay, so tell everybody what kind of car and give us the breakdown of the whole situation.
Yeah, it's a 2006 Ford GT. I bought it brand new, and of course it was supercharged. They were about 550 horse or something like that. And I love the car. It was had good air conditioning and everything was good on it. But I decided very quickly after I purchased it, it was time to do some modifications. And matter of fact, the salesman that sold me the car, I've known for years. He was a big car guy. I mean, one of the most knowledgeable race car guys going back into the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s about who won what and what European country. Super smart guy. And he said, Johnny, why don't you make that the fastest car in the world? Because he knew I was into racing. And I said, okay, I'm going to do that, Tom. He passed away, but I thought, well, I better honor what I told him I'd do. So
there you go.
It's an 06 GT. It's now it's making, full boost, about 2,800 horse to the rear wheel. That particular run was a low boost run. So I didn't have it turned up. I wasn't planning on trying to go way over 300 on that run. We were there for 2 days. That was the first day of testing. Mm-hmm. And we were probably going to, I was going to throw the hammer down the second day, but it felt good in 6. I wanted a good data logger in 6th gear. And even though we weren't at real high boost, I wanted to get a good pull. And I saw 303 as I was coming down to the end. And I looked over. If you watch the video, you can see me looking over to the right. I'm looking at that V-Box, which is a Race Logic V-Box. And I saw 303. And then I saw like 307. I said, may as well go to 310. So I did, but I stretched out pretty far. I got pretty close to the end of the runway on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Skidded 1,123 feet, I think. And I did have a parachute, so that was a plus.
Yeah.
The car's fast, manual transmission. It's got a good stereo. It's a Guinness World Record holder. Like I said, in the standing mile, it's a license tag insured ice cold AC for years. I took my kids to school in it. It's been seen driving all over South Florida. It's a street car and a street car class. So
nice.
I just love the fact that it's got good AC and a great stereo. That's important in a car that goes 300 miles an hour.
Well, I drive it around. So when you're driving normally, you don't really go fast. I don't need to. I don't need to prove anything. I do it on the track. But yeah, it's I'm in the Guinness class. There's a lot of rules: license tag, insurance. AC's got to blow less than 60 degrees. DOT tires, which I've been protesting from day one. They won't change that. So I have to run street tires on a car, which are only rated for 187. So that particular run, I did have some Michelins on the back that were race tires, but the fronts were just regular Michelins that I bought at Tire Kingdom. So, you take a chance, calculate a risk on that stuff. And then before you start the race, if you're having the Guinness people adjudicate it, you got to pull up the starting line and they'll get out a stopwatch and they'll click the stopwatch, start it, whatever you want to say. And you have to drive the car up and down the runway for 15 minutes and not fast. You just got to drive it around, 20, 30 miles an hour. And when you pull back up the starting line, they'll wave you in. When your 15 minutes is expired, they'll pull you into the starting line and you can only add fuel. If you open the hood and work on the engine, you're disqualified. And they check your air conditioner. It's got to blow less than 60 degrees. Wow. So the reason that class is so hard is because of some of those items. Otherwise you come out there in a top fuel dragster, they go 350 and 30, 1,000 foot, but they don't have radiators. They're not street cars. They're not designed for, so, I mean, this is a true street car class. Yeah. It's kind of like, the one lap of America. Those are even more insane street cars. They go to all the different tracks around the country and they road race and drag race and all that stuff. So my car's in a street car class and it's pretty fast. So it's the fastest street car on the planet Earth now officially. So it's a million cars, so it's the fastest one.
What's the next fastest one?
The next fastest is a Bugatti Chiron with 304 and 7 miles.
Oh, okay.
I did mine in a little under 2, but like I said, next time out, I should go around 320.
Right.
320. That's the next run. So, and then under the Bugatti, there isn't anything that goes 300. There's not another. A lot of guys claim it. A lot of guys try. A lot of them come out the runway and test where I'm at because I do the straight line aerodynamic testing at Kennedy Space Center. I run that program. So I work with just about every manufacturer there is and IndyCar teams and all that. So I get to hang out with those guys quite a bit and I get to drive a lot of the cars and I get to watch them make the attempts. Some of the other SSC and John Hennessy, great guys. And they're getting there. I think SSC went 295. So, they're there. They just, listen, man, it's hard. It takes millions of dollars, which I don't have. So we got to throw some redneck engineering at it to keep her going.
Right.
So you have a chance, Lewis, when you put tags on that Bugatti of yours, you got a chance of getting out there. And
I might be able to catch up.
Make a number.
Yeah. I want one too. So send me one. I've been 260 in one. They're nice cars, man.
Yeah.
For $4 million, you get what you pay for.
I can't even afford the model. The model is more than I can afford.
Can't afford the tires. I can't even get the tires. Tires are like 40 grand.
Wow.
They're special tires. So Bugatti had Michelin build them a set of 253 mile an hour rated tires. And there's a lot of videos about it and stuff. Yeah. But I did a lot of research on tires, and without divulging too much about what I found, there's a lot more in a tire than what they would lead you to believe. If you study the actual testing programs they go through to get a YZ rated tire. So, and I'm only up there for a few seconds. When I do a standing mile, which hopefully the next standing mile I'll do, which will be in the fall of 2023, I should go about 3:03 and 20 seconds from a dig.
Wow. 20 seconds. Jeez.
Yeah. That car runs pretty good. There's some pretty fast cars out there that do the half mile. My half mile, my best is 2:44. That particular run that day was about 2:33. So, and I race motorcycles, and I have a bike that can even touch my car. So that's the crazy thing.
Wow. We got to talk about that. Motorcycle at speed. That's It's a whole nother world, man.
Yeah. Oh, there's some really fast half-mile cars. Underground Racing's got some all-wheel drive Lambos set up just for the half mile. They're running 250 and a half. You know, I'll probably never get that fast because I'm a two-wheel drive car and I don't have a paddle shift. You know, I'm shifting my car. It's a clutch, man. It's a, you know, it's still got the stock block in it. Of course, the guts are all changed. And the transmission case is stock. Of course, it's all, you know, I got straight cut dog box gears and everything else, but you know, years of R&D and braking stuff, you know, that's how you figure out what's going to work is when you break it. You fix that, and 5 more things break down line. So I've been chasing that demon for years. I still am.
Yeah, that video is incredible watching it. It's nice that from inside watching you do it. That's a nice view.
Well, I tell you, wait till you see the next one that comes out because, you know, I had multiple camera angles on that thing, and a lot of them are were Garmin's that show the telemetry, so you can see the mile an hour. We had 6 or 7 items on the car to capture the speed because, you know, it's the last thing you want to do is do something like that. And I've got to turn the timer on, you know.
Oh yeah,
that crushing because you don't get these opportunities. I may not get to do it again. There's a lot of stuff. I've got a really good team around me. You know, it's very difficult to do, but I've got a 360 video that's coming out. Have you seen the 360 GoPros? Have you ever seen one in action? Well, you know, a lot of guys use them on the racetrack and a lot of the street bike racers use them. Anyway, I put one in a car, my film guys did. And you can basically look at the floor, the ceiling, the side, the door, the back engine bay, look at the parachute, all from one camera. Yeah. And it is truly like you're riding in the car. So you can be in the passenger seat and look out and look down at the ground. That gives you a real relationship of how fast that is. At 310, you're going 455 and a half feet a second. So it's cooking biscuits right there, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You're moving along at that point.
Wow. So when did you get into racing? Like when did you get the bug?
My brothers were and relatives were into flat track racing. My mother had me when she was like 42. So my brothers and sisters were all 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Of course, they were into racing from very early age, horses and motorcycles. And so my one brother, Hemi, was a really good flat track racer. He used to race with Gary Nixon, matter of fact, and some of those guys. And he's won a lot of races. But when I was a kid, I went around that. I was around that environment. And then I started riding, you know, dirt bikes in the late 60s. I was born in 60. So I rode my first mini bike probably 7 years old. You know, the little pull start ones. Remember those with the little Briggs motor? And then I got a couple other bikes that were a little more advanced. And then the XR75 Honda came out in the early 70s, and I got one of those, and I did really well. I started racing motocross, and I raced motocross for quite a few years, just, you know, on a journeyman level, but I got pretty good. I raced 250 class and the 500 class, and I got hurt a lot though, man. I've got a lot of injuries I'm paying the price for.
You know, that's funny you said that. I raced BMX and motocross in the early 80s. And I broke this shoulder. And I never had any problems with it until maybe 2 years ago. I started getting pain in it. So I went to the doctor. He goes, "You got bone spurs." He goes, "Have you ever broke it?" I was like, "Yeah, when I was 12. He goes, "Well, come back to get you."
Oh man, I tell you. Listen, my latest hobby has been for the past few years is mountain biking, and I've gotten pretty good at it. We don't have a lot of mountains in Florida, but there's some real good technical trails, and we have some big landfills they make tracks on. And I started racing. I've been doing it a lot, and I've been hurt more. Several surgeries, broken bones, tree branches in my hand. Got my stomach perforated with a handlebar, just missed my pancreas on a bicycle. Yeah. Bicycle will mess you up, man. And
how did you die?
Well, I mean, they will mess you up. And I hear it all the time. I was on a podcast with a guy either yesterday or today, and he was telling me the same thing. He said he raced motorcycles for years, and he started doing mountain biking, and he's never been hurt as much. But sadly, I got a bad injury 4 months ago. And I wear a motocross chest protector, with a back protector. I wear all the gear.
Yeah.
And I was coming down a hill. I've got a Garmin. I was like 24 miles an hour. And
it's cooking.
Well, it's pretty fast because it's coming around a turn. And
Right.
the berm blew out. And I went over a little, almost like a little cliff. And there was a lot of rocks there. And I don't know what I did because obviously I'm in the middle of a crash. But I landed on a basketball-sized rock in the middle of my spine.
Oh.
And I really got hurt. Luckily, I had that rock protector, which is a heavy plastic chest and back protector. But I knew I was hurt, man. I got up and finished the ride, but I was really hurt. I didn't just knock the wind out of me. I knew because I just broken 3 ribs a couple months earlier. And I said, and I just broke some more ribs. And so long story short, I went and got some x-rays, and then they sent me to another specialist. And then 3 days ago, I get my results from my CT, because this was months ago, but I'm still having a lot of problems. So they want to do more investigative. Anyway, I got 2 broken vertebrae, and one of them's protruding into my spinal cord 20%.
Oh, no.
I just found that out yesterday or the day before. So they're telling me, don't ride anything, don't do anything but walk. And that ain't going to happen. So
wow.
I guess I go with the die grinder and cut it out, just let's get that thing fixed,
I gotta say, at 62, that's pretty good. But that's, now as we get older, we pay for it more than we did in the past.
Yeah.
We don't bounce back as much, but I give you a lot of credit for sticking to it.
Well, the doctor told me, he goes, when you turn 60, 55, 60, he says, when you crash on a bike or a motorcycle, you don't brake, you explode.
Right.
I think you're pretty right. But I'm still going to do it, man. I'm still going to drag race, and I want to get back on the mountain bike. It's great exercise, it's and it's really hard. It's fun, man. I love racing those young guys, and it's a great feeling, when you can beat them. And I beat them all the time. So
yeah.
Any day you can crush the hopes and dreams of a millennial, you've made an accomplishment.
Right.
I'm joking, but yeah, no, a lot of them smoke me, but there's a lot of them out there that take me for granted, and they end up getting beat.
Oh yeah, that's
sweet. Okay, so we got a lot of motorcycles in the back. We got to talk about them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I used to ride a KZ back in the day. Loved it, and I would like to get another one day when I grow up. And my wife don't know they're fast, so I'm allowed to get something like that.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, I can walk around and show you some bikes if I can.
Yeah.
If you want me to, sure. Let me stand this thing up.
I'll be right back. I'm going to turn my heater off.
Yeah, sure. This is my daughter's laptop, so let's see here if I don't mess it up. I don't know if you guys if you can see them or not. I'm trying to. Yeah. I don't know what you can see there. These are.
That's my dream bike.
That's a Z1R. That's an original bike. That one there is a real rare. 521 of them made. It's a turbo. There's several more. There's a 75 Z1 900. This bike right here that has the folding table. Can you see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that bike is
900.
No, well, it's a Z1R. It's a Z1R.
It is, yeah. It's the color.
But that bike runs 970s. It's making 177 rear wheel horse. Got that bike. This is my Harley, which I built, and it's a Springer front end. It's got I don't know if you can see the shifter down there. It's a Bud Light shifter with a 3-inch foot clutch. There's no clutch up there on the handlebar.
Yeah, jockey shift.
This bike runs 1150s in the quarter.
Wow.
ZRX. There's another 76 900. There's more Z1Rs right here. Bunch more of the turbo bikes. There's
like every one of those bikes are clean.
Lewis, there's got to be. There's got to be. There's got to be something there for us. Come on.
Yeah. This Suzuki's real fast. That's a really fun bike. Here's my Hayabusa. That's one of these. There's some more turbo. All these are turbos. These Cowies over here. This bike here runs 890s, and it's a street bike.
Now,
I had it 203 Sunday, 203 miles an hour.
Wow.
This bike here is The next one I'm doing a build on, and it's an 899 second bike, but I'm getting ready to do a whole bunch of work to it, and it'll probably go 227 in the 9/10 is what I'm hoping for, and I want to get it down in the mid 8s in the quarter mile. And these are all street bikes. I mean, all these bikes are streetable. I don't have anything that I can't ride on the street per se. It's more fun for me to be able to take them out on the street. There's a Suzuki Katana. You probably remember those back.
The Katana was a great bike. I always tell people that there were two bikes that I thought got overlooked by what preceded them, what superseded them. It was the Katana and the GPZs.
Oh yeah, the GPZs were a great bike. Matter of fact, I run that engine. I got something happened here. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. My daughter's.
I thought the GPZ hit it out of the park. It was such a beautiful street bike, and then the Ninja came, and everybody forgot about the GPZ.
Well, the GPZ was, they started in 80, but in 83, 84, they put in the bathtub chamber style head, and that was a game changer. Although the GPZ 83, 84 was heavy, that was a great bike, and it had a lot of potential. And I actually take the heads off those. That's the best head. I'm building another engine right now for my my pro street bike over the one I told you it ran down 70s. So it'll be making about 204 horsepower. And that bike over there, that it runs with these boosters in the 8th mile. And a lot of times I beat them, and it should be a 950 bike, 9.50 seconds is what I'm hoping for. That bike there is the one I build those side covers. I don't know if you saw that Z1R. I don't know if you can see it. It's aluminum.
I saw one of the other bikes.
With 772 on it?
Right.
It just says Z1R. Yeah. So I make a bunch of different parts for these bikes, and I build frame brace kits that I sell all over the country and the world, actually, for the Kawasaki's, the Z1s. So big Kawasaki guy.
Yeah.
Kawasaki. And if you look here, I'll show you my disastrous workbench.
Well,
Head, carburetors, pipes, tires. I build these seats for the Hayabusas right here for the Gen 1s and Gen 2s. I make those whole things. I make all these right here at my shop.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And,
now, Hayabusa is one of my favorite bikes, and I've been trying to talk my wife into letting me get one, but she won't. And I keep telling her I'll put the little screw in the throttle thing so it goes slow, but she ain't having it.
Yeah, she's smart.
The Cowie's always been mine. The big Ford Cowie is always my favorite. And I got to say, in 43 years, I've owned 3 bikes, but I've worked on hundreds. And I want to ask you that the biggest problem I found, especially now with the age of these bikes, is the metallurgy. I mean, you put screws in. If you have to put a screw in, take it out like twice, the threads are shot. It's
it depends on the bike. They actually had a pretty good metallurgy. It depends on the bike. The Kawasaki's, the Kawasaki engine is without a doubt the best engine that was ever made for a motorcycle ever in the history of the world, even today. Not the fastest, but at the time it was. But it's got a straight cut clutch basket. It's got straight cut gears from the factory. It's got a roller bearing crankshaft, which Suzuki copied as well. And they're just bulletproof, man. There's not many engines today that you can buy, on any bike, and without changing the crank, and other than welding the crankshaft up, you can turn around and make 300 or 400 horsepower on those if you want to build a crazy motor on the stock rods and everything. So, that was a really bulletproof, badass, tough engine. And Suzuki made a similar engine with the roller bearing crankshaft setup, but they had a helical cut clutch basket. So if you did a lot of hard drag racing, hard launching, you had to put a straight cut basket in it. But yeah, man, if you guys saw the stuff, I've got bikes all over my property here. It's a bit of a disease, but you got to have parts, man. And drag race. Sadly, they sold our track down here. So,
we heard that.
Yeah, it's a really bad situation. So, and I've been going there every Friday for years and years. If I'm in town, obviously I didn't go if I was out of town, but now to drag race, I have to drive to Orlando, 2.5 hour drive.
Wow.
Okay.
And if you go up there, it's nighttime test and tune or race. So you just spend the night up there. So, then you're away from the family, the kids, the dogs, all the pets. And so it's they've made it difficult. And now Bradenton Motorsports Park is in jeopardy because
Really?
of, man, there's some developers that want to put a big neighborhood, around it, which what happened in Englishtown,
That's what happened in my part of the woods. Yeah, I'm in New York, so
yeah. So as soon as they start building up, all the people start crying and complaining.
right. What's that noise? What's that noise I hear? Well, that's a track that's been there for like 50 years. Oh, that's got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
And the homeowners association gets their way.
Yep. And then Orlando Speed World, that track is also, the rumor is the guy's got a really big offer for it. You got these huge corporations like Amazon and Walmart, and they'll buy a piece of property for $100 million, if they need it. And that's nothing. That's like me and you buying a Big Mac,
Yeah.
And they're just slowly taking away everything that people like to do,
Yep.
It's all the sake of development.
Yeah.
They tell you.
So on all these bikes, I haven't heard anything about Yamahas.
Let's see. What Yamaha do I have? I don't have any Yamahas right now. I don't think. I had an XS11. I just sold it.
I was going to say, the XS11 was a nice bike, but they weren't really known for speed like the Cowies and the Suzukis were, and even some of the
Actually, in
Hondas.
'78, the XS1100 was the fastest bike out.
That was the one.
Pee Wee Gleason went out and ran 1178 or something like that on one of those. They were drive shaft bikes, and you can put a turbo on it. And Yamaha makes a great bike. I've had a couple R1s in some of the newer road race bikes, but I kind of just stick with what the Cows, the Suzukis. I do love Harleys. I've got a couple other, off-brand bikes, but I kind of stick with those. I've got probably 50 or 60 spare engines for the Cows and all kinds of stuff. So you guys ever come to Florida, I'll show you my junkyard.
Oh, yeah.
I got pallet shelving in a pole barn. I use a forklift, and I have engines are all categorized, and
that's great.
God, it's an obsession, but
yeah.
I have
you're doing it right, so that's good.
Oh yeah, I have a 87 Yamaha Venture.
Okay, there you go.
It's running the VMAX motor.
Yes, I've had several VMAXs. Great bike. I was getting ready to build a Yamaha. It was the one that's not the baby VMAX. Oh shoot. It was a 600. It was a 700. It was the Tariff bike. Remember, they made a miniature VMAX, and but it was chain drive with a 6-speed, and it was a Tariff bike. But you could take that engine out, and I think Ronald Reagan. Remember, they wouldn't let them import bikes over 750 cc's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's when Honda came out with the. My buddy bought one. What the hell was the model? Yeah, when they came out with it was a 700.
Yeah, they came out with that. The small Harley. So, I of course I can't think of the name of it, and I should know. But man. Anyway, so the Tariff Yamaha, you could put that 1100 motor in that frame, and have a just absolute sleeper because it looked like a little cruiser. I've had several VMAXs, great bikes, but you got to convert them over to chain drive, if you're going to get really crazy with them, because that drive shaft just doesn't work well. And what else? Yamaha makes some really good products, and if I find a good Yamaha deal, I'll buy it. That XS11 I had for a while. It was absolute mint. Honestly, a 10 in condition, 78. And but I wasn't riding enough, and the carburetors are always giving me trouble because it was sitting. So I sold it to a guy, and he came down here. He flew down to Florida, to West Palm, and he jumped on it and rode it up to somewhere up north. I forget what state it was, like Ohio or something. He had no problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good bikes, really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a picture. I took it all apart, and I touched every part of the bike. I redid the whole thing.
Oh man, wow. I can't get you guys to come up because I touched something on the screen, and I've got a dictionary in front of me right now. So I'll tell you another great Yamaha is the Warrior. Man, you talk about a nice bike. Remember the Warrior? Yeah. Now I can see you, but you did something tricky there. You moved everything to the side, but that Yamaha Warrior, I've had a few of those, and that's an incredibly good bike. Highly underrated, and they're single pin crankshaft, so it's got that lope like a Harley Davidson. That's
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they're great bikes, man. That Yamaha Warrior, if you ever get a chance to ride one of those, if you're into V twins, they pull good, they're fast, and they're smooth. They got a belt drive in the back. They're not a race bike, but
Do they run that motor on 4-wheelers too?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah, great engine. I tell you, man, they're fast, they boogie, and they're 100,000 miles is nothing for those bikes. Which
Really?
is oh yeah, they'll go 100,000 miles. Yeah.
Can you see the picture up?
I can see you, but I can't see a picture.
Okay,
Oh.
I got it, Lewis. I see you sharing the screen, so I got it on my end.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, I got that going. Wait a minute, maybe I'm getting somewhere here.
It's probably your screen view, John.
No, what it is when I was walking around, I hit something, and it brought up a dictionary, and I'm afraid to click any of the X's because I don't want to hang up on you guys.
Well, click X the dictionary. That's the safe way.
I did. I X'd it. It's not going anywhere. Let me. No, let's see here. I'm tapping away. This is a Mac, and I don't know nothing about a Mac.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Yeah, my younger daughter uses a Mac too, and I'm like, you must be on Mars.
Hey, I'm on a Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to use one in the studio too, and it's like, oh man.
Well, Lewis, you're going to have to email me some pictures, man.
Yeah,
like I said, I can't see anything, but no, man, I love the bikes, and the cars are fun, and listen, man, we just got to keep doing what we like to do until the day you can't do it anymore.
I just had a conversation with a guy a couple of weeks ago about whatever happened to the KZ 1300 and the CBXs of the world. And the CBXs are around, but you never see those KZ 13s anymore.
No,
you're very, very few people even know about them. But that's a great engine. They were a drive shaft bike, but they came in on the tail end and they screwed up by making it a drive shaft bike. Had they made that a chain drive, that actually is a better bike than a CBX, and it's a lot more power. I've got a couple 1300 engines laying around here. It uses a 650 piston, actually. But that was a great bike. But they
water cooled.
Yeah, but they made that when they did the drive shaft. They were trying to make a sport, ultra cruiser.
Yeah, that's the wrong way. It was a touring bike.
It was a touring bike, yes, right. And so was the CBX. The CBX was a touring bike, but it immediately had performance stuff available for it. Whereas the KZ 1300, because the drive shaft was not of interest to people that wanted to go fast per se, nobody built Vance and Hines, and none of those guys started making headers, and there was hardly anything available for a performance 1300. Now they're worth a lot of money now. If you got a really mint vintage one, they're $15,000 or more.
The thing too is the CBX had the look. It had you saw the engine. It had the look. The 13 had the fairings and all. It looked just like a big touring bike. So the CBX had it. They nailed it. They had the right graphics on it and all the striping kits and all. So
I've had several of them, and I hate working on those bikes. To build that engine is the same as building 2.5. Honest God, it's 2.5 engines in one. A lot of moving parts, and it's a difficult bike to put together. But they're great bikes. Remember Mr. Turbo had the turbo kit for him back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, I got a question for you. On my bike, I have the 4 carburetors.
Yep.
And they're always popping out of sync. And like every year and a half, 2 years, I gotta mess with them. You know what I mean? They're just junk. So, what do you think about? I'm gonna put a Fiat carburetor on it.
Weber. Weber.
So I'm getting ready to probably in the next couple of weeks build the manifold for it so I can put the Weber on.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. You know what a Honda Goldwing is. You guys have seen those around. And they had some carburetors that you would if you took them off the bike, the best thing to do is carefully and gently set them down behind a big truck tire and back the fucking things over. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend that collects those bikes. Yeah.
No, but they're great bikes. But I built back in the 80s for a guy, and it was ugly. Matter of fact, if it was ever to be seen, I would completely disown it. But I did exactly what you're talking about, Lewis. I made a little manifold that went to each runner,
Mm-hmm.
and I put a 2-barrel like Carter carburetor on it, like from Napa, like an old truck carburetor. That bike never ran as good as it did. And the
Really?
guy rode it for years. He never had any trouble with it because you got rid of all that stuff. There was no sinking. It just had a 1-barrel on it, which I'm not sure what you're doing if it's a 1-barrel. But when I used to run the Volkswagens, we had Webers, side drafts, that would be on the dual port 1600s and all that. And you'd have a Weber 44s, which, or Delordos were good too.
Delordos, yeah. The Webs be like the IDFs or the IDAs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that idea, if it's been done and it works, man, what year's your bike? 86?
87.
Yeah. So it doesn't have any fuel injection. It has no sniffers on it, anything like you'll probably be very happy you did it once you get it jetted correctly.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of the guys on the forum have been talking about it, and a couple of people I've talked to have done it, and they said it's just instant power and like you said, no finagling with the.
Just don't
sinking.
get one with a water choke.
Yeah. No drama. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I mean, like they actually sell those kits for the Gold Wings that are very nicely made. With and I don't know, there's probably 2 or 3 different carbs, but most of those Gold Wing guys were running an automotive carburetor, like a 1-barrel or a 2-barrel off of an old, Plymouth Valiant or something like that. And forget about it. The bike runs incredibly well, and they never give you any trouble. It's a game changer. And like I said, I hate working on Gold Wings. They're tight. They're hard to work on. Yeah. The carburetors are ridiculous.
Yeah. So I didn't ride all last year because I rode it to work one day, and on the way back, I was losing power. Like I couldn't get no power out of it. Like I was missing a cylinder or something. But I know it was the carbs. One of them carbs went crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing is it sounds like you ride it quite a bit, but Stage 2 is a company that sells jets, and they're actually called Stage 2. And if you call them up, you probably could buy a jet kit and rejet that bike, and also possibly change the needle. There's different needles, but it's a lot of work. There's a lot of trial and error to that. So if you can get that set up from what your forum guys are coming up with, and you make a manifold for it, and you get that setup done correctly, man, you're going to be very happy with it.
Yeah, I'll send you pictures when I do it. I'm probably going to do it in the next couple of weeks because I don't want to miss another summer. You know what I mean?
You're in Ohio, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if you were near Terry. Terry
Ray.
from of SEMA. Yeah, I think he's up in New York or something.
Yeah, Ray's close to him.
Terry, yeah, I'm not too far.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's a trip, man.
Yeah.
He's a great kid, man.
Yeah, he probably pop in. He usually pops in a little later.
Oh, does he? Yeah. Well, you're he probably won't be seeing me way past my bedtime.
Yeah. So you know what? It's 9:40. So keep it for a few more minutes. I'll let the guys in that's in the blue room or green room. Let them ask you a couple questions, and then we can let you go.
Awesome, man. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. Let's see who we got. Brian. Isaac. Papa Squirrel, you want in? No? Okay. All right, fellas.
Well, my first question is, are all those bikes yours?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I don't own the bikes. They own me.
Okay. Got it.
You got to start them all the time. You got to take care of them. Yeah, it's a bit of a chore.
Fun chore, though.
Yeah, it is.
Man, that's not a bad chore.
No, I enjoy them, man. I really do. I sit back and just kind of on the weekends. We ride every Sunday. I'm down in Florida. Luckily, we get to ride about every day of the year. So
That's great.
yeah, unless there's a hurricane or something. My one buddy called me from Idaho.
That's your wake up call, Brian.
Oh, go ahead. Anybody else got a question? I don't want to keep talking there. Sorry.
No, go on.
That's
Headphones in. I said
got a
that was
question.
Brian's wake up call.
I got a question on that record-breaking run. Right about the time you hit 300, from the camera in the inside, it looked pretty smooth. As far as the ride, was that? And I don't know if you answered this earlier, but was it hitting that speed? Was it pretty smooth on the tarmac?
You know, that car rides really well because I've spent numerous years trying to dial it in and get everything right. And by default, over failing multiple times, I've got that thing. So it's like driving a minivan to the grocery store. It is absolutely rock solid. It got a little squirrely when I pulled the chute, as you probably saw in the video. Plus I, went a little bit too far because I was looking over at the, I was trying to hit that 310. I saw it on the V-Box, and of course, really, you shouldn't be looking around when you're going that fast. And then, of course, I have one hand on the steering wheel, and the other hand I have to keep on the parachute at that point, and you have to be full throttle when you pull the parachute. But other than the parachute deployment, the car was very smooth. But you have to drive it. I mean, the car's it's a little wilder than it looks in the video. The 360 video may show a little bit more, but it's basically a very smooth car. Handles very well. A lot of, it's got the right amount of downforce. So
how much?
Yeah, it looked really smooth on there.
Yeah.
How much tape did you put on the car?
Did you say tape?
Yeah.
A lot. So good eye there. So there's a lot of helicopter tape around a lot of the seams on the front, around the headlight buckets. I use Gorilla tape on the entire underneath the car where the body panels bolt together, because we bolt them all together with the factory hardware. The 4GT's got a fully flat bottom with a rear diffuser, but we put a different rear diffuser on the car. Right after I bought it, a completely different, because the factory was.
Yeah, earlier on I worked at Porsche, and I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 88. I think it was 88, maybe 87, 88, I think is what it was. But it was the fastest production car, and we had a world premiere, and they had one of those German race car drivers driving the car, and
awesome.
They had this live satellite thing going on to all the dealerships. We're all standing around, and of course we have all the people that are expecting to buy, just buy the car.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, they had this red 928 S4, and they roll this thing out of the box from the truck, and it's got the side mirrors, and it's got all the stuff, and they show it going down the road, down the salt flats. And it doesn't have any mirrors. The car is taped up to no end, and it reached a speed that I think it was 200 miles an hour or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And but it was just funny. And then of course the car comes back, and everybody's popping the champagne, and it's got mirrors on it, and it doesn't have any tape on it. So
that changed fast.
Well, the tape I put on is helicopter tape. Is really. It works as a coefficient of drag reduction, but more importantly, I put it on there to keep, all the body panels intact, because you're moving, at that speed. It doesn't take much to catch, windshield trim. Although I've run that car with no tape over 280 on anything when we're out there testing, and it's never had an issue. But the side scoops, there's a couple little panels that I cover up because they're subjected to a lot of force, but
and how do you add any more downforce? Do you add any more downforce to the car?
Well, what I did, so originally, I didn't have the money to go to a wind tunnel. And of course that's been the big fear, is what keeps the car from flying away. That's what, before I ever went 250, which I did in 2010 in the standing mile, everybody says, oh, you can't do this. That's cotton wall and all the engineers. Everybody tells you all the time what you can't do. Luckily, I don't have enough brains to know any better, so I just go do it. But I didn't really add downforce, but I was able to calculate what it was, and I made a bunch of structural changes to the front nose, in the front. I call it the shark mouth, in the front, and I changed the rake on the car. I made different side scoops, and I readjusted the gurney lip on the back of the car, and I built a different set of diffusers in the rear, and I got rid of the front splitter. So long story short, and I can tell you how I did it, but it's it's a few minutes story. But I'm making about 575 pounds on the nose at 275. So the thing with downforce is it extrapolates if you have an increasing volume that's happening. So that's not good. So you got to figure out how to get the car to be static downforce from like 200 on. Because if you're making 500 pounds at 220, and then you're making, 600 pounds at 240, then all of a sudden you're making too much downforce. You're going to slow yourself down, or even worse, you can get where you're making 3,000 pounds on the nose. So that took a long time to figure that out. And if you want me to tell you how I did it, I'll tell you. But
Yeah, well, I mean, most people don't understand that, but I mean, you can watch NASCAR and they put a little piece of tape on the car and it changes the characteristics of the car.
Absolutely.
And I just, I don't see, you didn't have a wing on the car, and you don't have. There's a lot of things that people do for downforce, and it doesn't take a lot to make downforce. I mean, adding one inch on the back of the car can make a big difference on downforce.
Well, the key that a lot of these guys don't understand, and even the really high level engineers that come out there, because I work with Bugatti and McLaren and all those guys, and I've driven all those cars brand new up on the runway. I test drive for some of those guys, but a lot of these guys, like they don't. My car's got bump stops in it, so if you set an elephant on the hood, the tires will never touch the inside of the wheel well. The minute your tires touch the inner fender, you're in big trouble. It's over right then and there. It's over. You're spinning out, and if you're going real fast, once you spin out, when you go backwards, the body can blow off. But yeah. So what I did was, everybody that I was competing against, they had wind tunnels, and I worked with a lot of the NASCAR guys because they come to the runway a lot back in the day, and they all have wind tunnels, $5,000 an hour, some of them, So I came up with an idea on how to create my own wind tunnel without a wind tunnel, and it's pretty funny, but it worked, and it's proved out to be perfect because I'm still using the same formula. But I put the car on the scales and scaled it out and got it exactly how I wanted it, adjusted all the shocks and everything, which you're familiar with. Then I went to a buddy of mine's gym, and I got about 1,800 pounds of 25-pound weights, and I wiped out his gym. It's pretty funny. And I brought him back to the shop, and we built a couple 2x4 stanchions, one for the front and one for the rear, that so you wouldn't set the weight on the front fenders, obviously. And then I had ordered from AIM a potentiometer system, and it's basically 4 little long shock absorbers that are not, there's no spring in them. They're about the size of a pencil. And all they do is they measure and record the distance in millimeters that potential or that little shock moves. And you build a bracket so they're mirror image parallel to your suspension. So the fronts have got a little shock on the outside of them, and the rears have a little shock on the outside of them. And whatever the shock does, the little potentiometer does. You got to set them up and dial them in so they're reading accurately. And then the AIM system has a data logging system, so it data logs those millimeters live, and also it records it, so you can go out and drive the car around and come back, and you can see all the travel that's happened, in a normal drive. So once I had all that stuff set up, I brought the weights in. We started putting the weights on the front and the rear. I got in the car, we put fuel in it, and we just started adding weight and just recording the compression of those potentiometer shocks. And I ended up putting 1,600 pounds on the nose, 1,600 pounds on the rear. And all the while I'm recording that depression of this potentiometers, and that still doesn't tell you anything. Then we had to go out on the runway, and I drove the car, and I data logged it. So I did a full pull at like 240, 250. This was back in 2011 or 12, I guess, or maybe even sooner. But I did a full pull, came back, looked at the data, and I saw the millimeter travel. And then I just looked at my chart that I did back in the shop. I said, wait a minute. Okay, so if that front shock went 3 millimeters, then that's 450 pounds. So then there are quite a few runs on this. That's why it's this little long story, but I had to do a lot of runs to get data to back it up with. So I had to have a chart. And, after about a day or two of playing with it, I knew exactly what the car was making at every speed on the nose. And that's how I calculated it's making 275 on the nose. At 275 miles an hour, it's making about 575, 575 pounds of downforce on the nose, which is perfect. You're not too much, you're not too little. You don't want to go under 200 if you can, especially under 100, because then it doesn't take hardly anything for that thing to do the I call it the offshore boat racing flip. You've seen those guys. They're gone. You're gone bad.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I mean,
that's a redneck wind tunnel, man. I invented it. Nobody told me how to do it. I'm sure somebody else has done it. I'm sure, but it works, and I still use the same formulas today. It's actually a pretty good little system.
Good.
Johnny.
Oh, here he is. What's going on, man?
How you feeling, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah.
Got this old man up pretty late, though.
Yeah,
it was good to see you. It was good to see you at PRI and some. Well, you wasn't at PRI, were you? You were at some.
No, I wasn't at PRI. I was commenting on your post, but I was at SEMA with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hung out at SEMA. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wanted to go to PRI, but I was getting my car ready for this run, so I just didn't have time.
Well, Terry, I hollered at him at the beginning because we were hanging out at SEMA, and we had no clue he was going to beat this record up.
I had no clue. I wish I'd known.
Yeah.
Well, I told you I was going for 300. And I figured you knew that.
You did mention that. I just didn't know when. But you also told me you were going to cook me up some alligator or something like that, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I'll get you down here and get you some alligator. Yeah.
No,
Terry's never coming to Florida after I've told him. Florida is the Australia of the United States. So there's just all kinds of stuff down here that'll mess you up and kill you.
No, see, there's no need.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, we had a good time at SEMA. That was a good time, even though you walked about 10 miles a day, I think. Good.
I'll tell you what, that Tesla tunnel, man, that cut off a lot of walking.
Man, that was awesome. That was great.
Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1.
All right, who's watching TV?
No, that tunnel was awesome, man. And apparently they're going to do that all over Vegas. You know what I couldn't figure out, Lewis, was how do they keep homeless guys or some kind of crazy from getting in that tunnel? I didn't see like any serious security guards, And if you were in that tunnel and they're whipping around, you're a dead man. You're not getting out of the way.
Yeah, there's no room.
There's no room to go either side, and you can't jump over. So
that's what I'm saying. You might have luck jumping over, running at it and diving.
I don't even think it's room to jump over because it's pretty tight.
Tight now.
It is. And they're gonna what they say 54 miles of that they're gonna do in Vegas. Uncle Elon's gonna do for free. So I wish I could get some of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. In your junkyard, do you have any turbos that'll fit my bike?
Probably not. Most of the stuff I got is the old Ray J stuff. You can pick up a turbo. Nowadays, there's so many good turbos out there that are pretty small that would work fine. But all the stuff I have is really antiquated because the turbos on my bikes, they're all vintage turbo bikes. So I leave all the original stuff on them. And they're heavy. They're by today's standards, they're terrible, but they work. If you were going to get a turbo, I would highly recommend getting just a little Garrett or something, like a new one.
Okay. I can't tell my wife. I'm gonna tell her it's an alternator.
Yeah, it's a hair
Yeah.
dryer.
The hair dryer.
Yeah.
The
Hopefully
bike
she
needs
doesn't.
us to run.
Hopefully she
I
doesn't
promise.
doesn't listen to your
Yeah,
podcast.
she does. She's probably writing down notes right
They were
now.
like,
Oh, yeah,
hair
you're doomed.
dryer. Okay.
You are doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's up, gentlemen? How's everyone doing?
Terry,
Everything's good in
Doing
the
good,
in the
man.
neighborhood.
Terry, did you have
Really
fun
good year.
at PRI? That was your first time, right?
No, I was there. I
19.
think that's my second or third. Yeah, hold on, second.
I haven't been there since 19, I think, because I think the year of COVID, wasn't that 20 when COVID hit? Was
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was that the year they shut everything
Yeah.
down? I can't
Well,
remember.
we were there last year too.
Yeah, we went there last
I,
year.
I didn't go. Yeah, I didn't go. PRI is great. I took the GT. I took the car.
I
out
tell you
there.
the truth, I kind of like it better than SEMA.
It really is. It's for what we do, what all of us gearhead kind of guys. It's without a doubt better. SEMA's a giant, incredible car show.
Yeah.
With tradespeople there, of course, but PRI is legit a real, trade show, man. I mean,
Business. Yeah.
it's got stuff, man.
Yep.
You
So
know,
much
Tools
they're
and stuff.
building dragsters and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's just really good stuff there, and I enjoy it. I took the GT out there. I don't know what year it was. It snowed really bad. This was several years ago. Must have been 15, 16, 17. I remember we woke up in the morning at the hotel and it was like a foot of snow on the ground. I said, really? And we had to push the car in from, like, I don't know, a half a mile. And it was a nightmare. We couldn't get any traction. We were slipping. We had like 8 people trying to help us push the car up the little incline to get in. Yeah. Yeah. It was because you couldn't have any gas in the car. It couldn't run. And, they had all these rules. I don't remember. I don't even know if they have those rules at SEMA. Maybe they do, but I know PRI does. And I thought they were owned by the same people.
Yeah, they are. But I think it's the state laws.
Oh, the state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to prove your gas tank was empty.
Well,
So
let
how
me
does
tell
that
you a
work?
story. Tell you a story on the gas. I used to own a trucking company and I hauled custom cars and celebrity cars. So I had Carmelo Anthony's 69 Lincoln Continental. So
Awesome.
I take it to a dub show in North Carolina in Charlotte. And I go to bring it in. They're like, oh, you got too much gas in it. So I call back to the guys that built it. And they're like, oh, just drive it around Charlotte, run the gas out. So I'm rolling through Charlotte like I own it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm coming down a hill and the brakes go out. They redid the whole car but the brakes.
nice.
Wow.
So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to be on the news wrecking Carmelo Anthony's car, right? That's all I was thinking. So they finally caught at the bottom of the hill, and I got safe. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me in. Had too much gas in it. I
That
went to
probably had
McDonald's.
drum brakes on it. Probably had drum brakes on it all the way
Yeah, it
around.
did all the way around. Yep.
What kind of car is it? A Continental?
Yep.
Suicide door?
Yep.
63 like?
Yeah, it was a 69.
69.
Oh, 69. Okay.
Yeah, but
Hey, listen, if I can find the picture, I'll show you a 69 Eldorado that I built 30 years ago. But I took a 69 Eldorado, I lowered it, I shaved the door handles, I painted it pearl pink, and I put a 671 blower on it with 2 big hollies on it.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, dude, it was sick, man. It was a pro street type build. And I would drive it around West Palm Beach. We'd put like my kids and their friends, and we'd all drive down to the ocean in it, and I would do these massive burnouts because they're front wheel drive. This was the wasn't a Continental, it was the
Tornado Eldorado?
yeah, and that thing would smoke the tire. Matter of fact, it lit them up so good that you could get 3 or 4 people and hold the car back because it just wouldn't go anywhere. And I would fill that whole. They'd have a car show every Friday night on the beach, and I'd go there and they'd want me to do a burnout, and I'd do one, and it would fill the whole place with smoke. That's back when the cops would let you have fun, Nowadays, it's changed a lot. But that car was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. It was really a junkyard build, but it had a nice paint job on it.
I had a 70 Eldorado in high school, and I used to burn the tires all the way. You could burn them far as you can drive.
I'm telling you, man, that front wheel drive, that turbo, a turbo 400 in those things. But
Yeah.
those things will cook some biscuits, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
they will.
There you go, Justin. There's a good shop build.
Oh yeah, we like burnouts and anything with blowers. So
Yeah, we kept missing Justin when at PRI. I mean, like I think you came in.
Same me last year, dude. I'm gonna have to drive down to your house. I think.
I wish you would. You know.
Yeah, we were looking for you.
Make that happen.
We got plenty of room.
I stopped by Nelson's booth on was it Saturday?
Oh, I was gone.
He said, you were gone. He said you were running around, Lewis. So
yeah.
we're gonna make it happen.
No, we had a good time. We had a good time. Me and Lewis running around the place. You know.
Yeah, we kind of
got to put
Was it really crowded? Was it real crowded, or was it?
It was decent. It wasn't like it usually is.
It was a nice.
Yeah.
You could see everything. You could see everything.
Yeah, I kind of like that better.
Yep.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
guys ever
nice.
watch the Australian guys that do all the burnouts? Of course, it's starting to catch on over here quite a bit, but with the big blowers, and they just roast the tires, and the rims catch on fire, and it's just insanity, and they stay on them until the rims are gone, and yeah.
Those guys are nuts. Those little Commodores out there.
The orange, yellow tires, all different colors.
Oh yeah, man, it's awesome.
Looks like apocalypse now.
It is, man, and I do a lot of stuff with some of the Australians, and they're so underrated. They have so much fast stuff down there that is really fastest stuff in the world, but they don't get the credit for it, in a lot of ways. But the innovations that come out of there are pretty crazy.
Yeah, these guys be having Commodore or either those Moneros, like them older ones, like the 70s, and they just want some skinny tires, and you see them come with these big tunnel rams, these 871s, and just doing donuts. I'm like, put these on a quarter mile on a strip.
Impressive too that these engines, they're just holding them to the wood for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you something. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying they're holding it to the wood for 5 minutes.
It's just awesome. And they don't fly apart often, sometimes, but
let me tell you, we at SEMA this year, they had the Hoonigan guys out there, and it was eBay Motors was putting on a drift show. Did you guys catch any of it? Did y'all watch any of it, Lewis or Terry?
No, I didn't.
So anyway, we went out there and watched it, and of course it got really crowded real quick. People watching. They had guys drifting bikes, and they had a bunch of the Hoonigan guys doing all the car stuff out there. But mainly what they were doing was bouncing off the rev limiter in these cars for an insane amount of time. I'm like, God bless, man. I mean, there were Hellcat Chargers. And anyway, long story short, we were there. Rubber would fly off, little pieces would fly off into the crowd. Well, they had a Dodge Charger, a Hellcat Charger. And he was doing all the burnouts. He had a bunch of people in the car. And that rear tire on that car decarcassed in a complete donut. It came off. It flew over our heads, and if it had hit anybody, it would have absolutely torn your head completely off. It went, I don't know if you heard about it. It went about 200 feet off. And now, if you know where they were doing all that drifting, do you remember there was a whole line of cars that were show cars and trucks down near the big giant building, in that area?
The opening, you were,
Yeah, but not the opening, but further down to the left of the opening, they still had cars lined up. Well, there was a dude there that had like a 69 or 70 fully restored, Chevy pickup truck. It was absolute show. That fucking tire landed on that guy's windshield, broke the windshield and dented his roof all up. Literally, it fell from the sky from almost 200 feet away. And, after that, I wonder if eBay Motors is going to sponsor that because, man, if that had just taken a lower trajectory and hit the crowd, it was a big, heavy piece of rubber, probably weighed 25, 30 pounds.
Or they may have to put up some like netting, like at a driving range, to keep the stuff in.
Yeah, I think at that point they'll probably just stop doing it.
Yeah. Right. I didn't hear about it. What day was that?
Let's see. I don't know what day it was. We left. It was Thursday. I believe it was Thursday. Yeah, look it up. I'm sure somebody it messed up the guy's windshield. I'm just thinking that poor guy. he brings his car to SEMA and puts it in a very safe location. And this car got messed up, man. I mean, it tore the windshield up, it dented the roof in.
Wow.
I mean, it was all fixable. It's just, I just felt bad. It was like a 10 point, 100 point restoration,
Wow.
Yeah, that sucks.
You never know.
You never know when it's your time.
Right. So, hey, I know you got to get into bed. You're kind of older.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I appreciate that. You're right behind me. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. So listen, I tell all my guests that come on, your family, man, you can come on anytime just to hang out, or if you want to share something or promote something.
Well, man, I'll try to do it more often. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate y'all's support, and it's great talking with you and seeing you guys again. So,
most definitely.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, you guys really have a great Christmas and New Year and all that good stuff. And keep an eye, man. I'm going to try and go out. I might even go as soon as February to try and do around a 320 in a car. So we'll see. Okay. I got a lot more in it. And I'll do it in a lot shorter distance this time because I'm going to turn the boost up quite a bit. Fastest street car on the planet.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Pleasure talking to you.
Stay safe.
It's awesome.
And get healed up, too.
Oh,
give me some alligator bites.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We'll see you, man.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.